So I think let's make a deal before I start. If the presentation gets boring, so just wave your hand so I can start playing good. Anyway, I claim myself as an academic, a cured academic. And through the presentation, you will understand what I mean. I've been jumping between academia and business. My first startup was actually during doing my PhD at Carnegie Mellon University. It was called Digital Art Perspective. So I think this is where I started actually interested in art and music. But it went bankruptcy, and then I started a couple of tech companies in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, on GIS, Spatial Information Systems, and related technologies and CAD systems. So I've been jumping between academia and the market for about now 20 years. And I think, I believe there is a challenge happening or problem, which is the ecosystem. I'm going to talk more about the ecosystem. We all know about the ecosystem, but there is a problem with an ecosystem within academia. So just to try to bridge the gap between academia and the market, I think we can see that many publications and patents has no impact on economic development. And there is a tendency, according to the bylaws and the systems in higher education, that you get promoted through publications in highly cited journals. And that creates the dilemma, I think. We need to revamp and upgrade the bylaws and systems. I know there is, I think, one of the best universities in India, I think, they announced that they will give you a doctorate of practice if you manage to launch a viable startup to the market. So I think we need to just revise and update to bridge this gap. Also, the startup entrepreneurship is also a learning experience for students and faculty and researchers. So they learn other skills that I'm going to talk about than doing high-quality research that is getting published in a highly cited journal. Also, it's a mindset. So there are real-life challenges on the world. So the student or the researcher will learn how to address these challenges and then come up with innovative ideas that could be translated into a product or a startup. So I think this experience and the skill set, as Dr. Mira mentioning, that this is very important. It's not only about the knowledge set. Most of the tendency in universities is focusing on the knowledge set you're getting out of any program. But here you are adding to that set the skill set of being innovative, creative, addressing challenges in real life. And it's not theoretical experience, it's a hands-on experience. And also I think we can leverage more the existing resources in universities. I know this is happening worldwide in universities in the US and the UK and Europe, and it's evolving now in the Middle East and especially Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to share with you also the experience I've been through being in leadership positions of a couple of universities in Saudi Arabia. So this is the gap. There is a different bandwidth, brainwaves in these two worlds. They barely communicate, and that's a challenge by itself. And I believe one of the channels or the means of bridging these two worlds, the gap between these two worlds, are startups, especially entrepreneurship startups. This is actually the framework we designed together when doing research on how to bring these different arenas. So usually, I don't know if this point, so there's research. Sometimes it's a very high quality research, but has no interaction or impact on the market. Or you have also inventions or patents, I would call it, but also there is no interaction with the market. So the more we do interaction, so the research that is addressing challenges or problems in the market, that's an area. The ultimate is actually to do this. So research, innovation, and then you go to the market. Or from the market, there are problems, challenges, and then you pull. So the more we do interaction between these three circles, the more we are pushing this challenge to realize some of the innovative, creative ideas among students or researchers to come up with products and startups. So I'm going to share with you my personal experience in this. For the last 10 years, I got engaged in many activities and programs in Saudi Arabia. The first one was actually Wadi Makkah. So it was a space within the campus of Al Qura University, a very traditional, large university, more than 100,000 students. So it's a volume, not a value university. And you can elaborate more on that. But I think if we serve, I feel that regarding innovation entrepreneurship, it's all about dealing with the students and the faculty and the researchers as customers. So the customer, as an inventor or researcher or a student who has a great idea, you serve that customer. So the first thing we did, the space and the services. I'm going to talk also about the services we provided at this space. And the magic actually happened there. Some of the products. So we helped the faculty and researchers to push boundaries, to go to the market. Imagine next door, if you zoom out in Google Earth out of the university, you will see the city of Mecca, where is the mega event happening, which is Hajj and Umrah. Many challenges regarding logistics, crowd management, transportation, logistics, and also housing. All these challenges were not as added. So the only way, the channel of addressing these challenges are research that ends up with a paper or a patent that has no impact. So these are some of the startups that come out of this exercise. Some of them related to indoor navigation systems and how we can push these innovators to produce technology rather only using technology. You see, also I think الصحاف معنا اليوم ولا ما موجود. Now is closing a deal led by Bader with a couple of VCs to get invested in. So these ideas were actually dreams that come up of the research, where also we have this indoor navigation system within the Holy Mosque, this huge building, and then you can imagine how to operate and manage and provide all the services for the pilgrims and people coming to the city of Mecca. And it's not only for the pilgrims and the visitors of the city, but also for the operators who are managing this huge building. Also, the municipality of Mecca, Smart Hajj project. How many minutes do we have?
Still have like 6 minutes.
Okay. So this was a research project, and then we helped actually to negotiate with the market. So King Abdullah Medical City was one of the customers for them, and then they replicated this technologies they developed to other also hospitals in Saudi Arabia. Also, I was really excited that whenever I go to Terminal 5 in Riyadh, that I see some of the technologies that were designed, also manufactured at Wadi Makkah and implemented for indoor navigation systems. So most of their focus actually was on ICT and to address the next door market, which is Hajj. But then the products can be replicated and used in different regions and different areas. Also, this is for some with the Ministry of Health, the project also with the Red Sea Mall. So the same technology gets utilized by different sectors, which is here mainly the real estate, and also some simulation tools that was developed for crowds, to manage crowds and analyze the pedestrian movement and also the vehicular movement within the city of Mecca. So I think there was this move from the 3 Ps, I call it, so from papers to sometimes patents, and then products. And then we changed also the KPIs. Now we already value products and startups in the innovation, what happened there. And what's interesting, actually, that was a breakthrough for me, that where I found a researcher rather presenting a paper in a conference actually pitching to investors. that was a transformation happening in Al Khura University. A very traditional, huge university is moving and interacting with the market and pitching to VCs. And Dr. Saleh is a proud graduate actually of Imperial College. He's in London. So he was pitching. This was an event actually. It's the Tech Tour, which is an international organization doing some networking events between VCs and investors. And he was pitching for that. And luckily, actually, also we reached an area not only to promote and sell the outcomes of research into products, but also to attract investors to invest in these startups coming out of research. So that was the first experience. The second experience was actually a few months in Al-Baha when as I appointed the director of a university for a couple of months. But also when I went to Al-Baha, so I thought this is a remote area. It's not developed as Riyadh, Jeddah, and the big cities. What could happen and what we can do? So the first week, actually, we established the entrepreneurship center there. And I found that actually some innovative, creative ideas also available there, but they need some support. So it's a kickstart funding, it's a right mentoring, or whatever. So Rumman Bida, it's similar to Mango Jazan. Okay. And if you heard also about that. Amazing, actually, environment. It's a city up in the mountains, so it's different weather than the desert in Riyadh and Jeddah. So they have some amazing, actually, fruits and great honey there if you want to buy honey. So that was actually a student from the medical school, I think. He was creative enough actually to do the packaging, the innovation also in the supply chain, how he's storing. And actually, luckily, last week, that was in the news actually. So what we did actually, we gave them the minimal services, kickstart funding. They need a space to sit and communicate with investors, mentors. And also they need to have access to potential investors. The last experience was actually the last year at Prince Mohammed bin Salman College for Business Entrepreneurship. Again, we created the venture lab with a couple of services. So the student can get to that program to get an MBA. In addition, there's a course called Signature Learning Experience, where the student actually experience creating a startup or scaling a startup. Like Lucidia was a startup through Wadi Makkah, but then here we are helping them to scale up their startup. So the main service is actually kickstart funding, right mentoring services. And I mean by right mentoring, please do not allow faculty members to do mentoring, except as they pass through an experience of starting a startup or creating a startup or working with a startup. This is very critical. And regarding the kickstart funding, you can just relocate some of the research funding at the university, 10%, 15%, 20% to that channel, so it helps in this commercialization of innovation and research. And this is what we're talking about, knowledge economy and the creation of this sustainable economy based on innovations and great ideas. And the space, they want just to communicate. And forget about the argument about is it going to be an accelerator, incubator. Just provide a space where they can come together, learn from each other, or actually have some mentoring sessions, or actually invite people from the industry and the market to interact with the university also. And of course, access to research facilities within universities, and access to market and access to potential investors. So these are, just to summarize, in the three universities I was in, is actually just the three. One is actually how to take an idea into a product, into a startup, into a scale-up. And in each one, you provide different services for the students and the researchers. Just to wrap up, actually, there is an ecosystem within academia. And I know in K-12 education, it's the same thing. This ego among faculty, among students, I mean, we need to get rid of that ego to interact more with the market. And also the ego, sometimes it's also in the market. They don't want to communicate with faculty. These people are more about theory, not about practice or doing something in the real world. And I think the more we take rid of this ecosystem and going into the ecosystem, it will create this magic of interaction between academia and the market. The last thing, just to end up my presentation, this is one of the great books actually I read also. I think it summarizes most of the experiences I passed through in all these projects. So if you need more information about how to link academia and practice, I think this is one of the great books on that exercise. Thank you all.